So, hey everybody, this is Sandra Little Big Old Me. I'd like to introduce my friend and my neighbour Kate. Oh, sorry, she's got to have her protection. Are you wearing your protection? So, today we're going to talk about Kate, her view on COVID, how it's affecting her, her frustrations, and basically life. So, stay tuned. This afternoon we're doing a follow-up to our episode on COVID. So today I'm talking with my buddy Kate, my lovely neighbour. Feeds me all the time. God, you got to love that when someone's a great cook.
I'm not really.
Yes, she is. I
just like to know you're well fed.
I had to take a turn the other day, give something back, Anyway, so today I'm going to ask Kate a few questions, as I said, a follow-up to COVID. So my first question would be, Kate, how has COVID affected you?
Personally? I'll revert back to last year. I was travelling 2,000 kilometres a week.
Wow.
I was living on a property in northern New South Wales, 2 children and property matters, and working full time. So that was really tough. And unfortunately, I started working from home, which was great, saving the travelling.
Yeah.
But I started to compensate for some reason. I don't know. I started to drink a little bit too much.
Yeah, I guess that's a familiar thing.
Yeah, it just got a bit much for me. So anyway, my life was turned upside down. I left my property. I left my husband. My daughter and I moved to Newcastle, to Lake Macquarie. And we started a new life, a life that was less travel, a life that was less work at home, farm work and housework. And
a bit of a trade-off, I guess.
It was a trade-off, So I moved to Lake Macquarie. Everything was great. When we moved here, there was no lockdown.
Yeah.
There was no, I'm a teacher of the vision impaired.
Yes.
So I started working my usual role in a temporary or casual position. And so life was good. We had the lake, we had the beach, we had markets, we bought a new Labrador. We had things to do, places to go. I met a new partner. We renovated a home to sell.
So your life did a bit of a 360.
Yeah, 360. And then we hit COVID again.
Yeah.
And in that time, prior to hitting COVID again, I got a position back. I got a position in a regional town about an hour away.
Yeah.
Hour and a half away from where I'm living now. And whilst that was no.
Can you show them that I can rub?
Real life,
No,
uncut.
Uncut. Whilst that was
part of the story.
My daughter. Whilst that was the travel was back, the lifestyle was different.
Yeah, of course.
And I've only got my daughter here. My 10-year-old son is still in Gara with his dad, living the farm life and very happy. And my daughter's very happy in her school and everything's great, but I was back to travelling. And we sold the house and we moved to the caravan park to save money for, we could have rented.
You go through a transition.
Well, we'll transition, and plus I had a caravan that my ex-husband and I had a caravan that he was happy to let me borrow because it was sitting in the shed. So here we are at this beautiful caravan park and with my daughter, and I am now currently homeschooling and teaching from home, and I couldn't think of anywhere better to be in lockdown than here.
What are the frustrations you have felt during this time?
Okay, so I'm a very social person, Sandra. My work is not only my work that I love,
It's who you are.
and I'm passionate about and I'm knowledgeable about, but it's also a place to socialise and to be around people, an outlet, to be around people who are like-minded and who also have their own lives, and here you get to hear about their own
Yeah.
lives.
It's
So,
a distraction, I think.
you know, you have recess, lunch, you know, regardless of duty or whatever, together.
Yeah.
And I really miss the social aspect.
Yeah.
I'm here at the caravan park, and thankfully we have a really great resource in the camp kitchen to separate.
Great kitchen, by the way, people.
Great kitchen.
All the room you could ever need.
I mean, I've got a caravan that I can cook in, still cooking it, so right across the road. But I think the frustrations are teaching my children, my students in my class, my precious kids that you take under your wing and trying to forge their future, trying to build the foundations for their future and their life skills. And a lot of that with my kids, because I teach in a support unit with kids of multiple disabilities and high disabilities and high needs, a lot of that is hands-on.
Yes,
a lot of that is tactile, hands-on life skills. You can't do that via Zoom, via meetings.
Yep. You don't get that personal connection.
But yet I get that personal connection with my daughter.
Yep.
And being able to, as a teacher, teach her.
Yeah.
But yet I have my kids and parents who need me too. So I think the frustration, Sandra, is the balance.
Yeah.
The balance of homeschooling or home learning, I beg your pardon, my daughter, and home teaching my students, and finding that balance, because my daughter is only in year 1 and is not an independent learner.
No, and it's a high school that you teach as well.
Yeah, but I'm also conscious of the fact that my own students are not independent learners.
No.
So there you go. That's
I guess it's a learning curve, and one way to look at it is it's yin and yang, you know. And you've got to balance and look at the positive and the negatives. In the situation.
Yeah, I guess that's my frustration, you know. Yeah, basically.
Okay. Also, you had your first vaccination the other week.
Yeah, I did.
Maybe tell us a little about that, and what do you foresee in the future following up to that?
My initial thought about vaccination was I'll do it when I need to.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Gladys mentioned...
Who? Sorry?
Gladys.
Sorry. Oh, right.
Gladys,
okay, Gladys, yeah, right. Gladys, not this. No, sorry. Can we run that?
She mentioned sort of, 3 weeks or so ago that if you're vaccinated, you'll have additional privileges. And I thought, oh, okay, righto. Well, I said that's what I do, And, Pfizer, this wasn't available, and all the rubbish about Pfizer. So my partner, who has additional
health complications,
and I decided that we'd go and do it. So that's what we did. And lo and behold, 2 or so weeks later, was released that teachers have to have... Not yet, almost. Sorry. Sort of mentioned that that teachers, as mandatory for teachers.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, thank God I had that first vac, because by the time I'm due for my second, it'll be up to that deadline where teachers can actually return to the school. So I was grateful, but the main reason was, I don't want to lose privileges. Yes. Yep. Here comes Elisa. Look out, folks.
I actually mentioned last week that I had a phone-in appointment with my specialist, who's a haematologist, head of haematology at Newcastle Mater Hospital. And I only posed, 3 questions to him, and one was,
I don't know what to do.
Being autoimmune and with my bleeding disorders, is there one that's more suitable for me personally? And he recommended Pfizer, as seems to be the common thing. And also, one of the questions I couldn't help but ask was, can I ask him a personal question? And he said yes. And I said, have you had the vaccine? And he replied and said, yes, I have. My mother has and my daughter has. So I guess, I was sitting on the fence, but now with that information and with my daughter's concerns, and it always pays to ask a question and not live in fear of things. So I guess it's time to move forward and book that appointment, and with little good old me, and production. You know, I'm not going to be able to travel and continue our show if I don't follow these steps and get on board. So finishing up on that note, this is young Elisa, Kate's lovely daughter, who you may have seen in a vid the other week on Facebook. Would you like to say hello, Elisa?
Hello. What do I have to do?
Well, I'm going to just ask you a question without the scrunchie in your mouth, of course.
Okay.
So tell us in your words, what do you think about COVID, good or bad? How do you feel about it?
Well, I think it's bad because
Coming closer.
I think it's bad because people are dying and getting really, really sick.
Yeah. And do you like that you have to get schooled at home, or would you rather go back to school and meet your friends and have that moment?
Go back to school, but I just talked to my friend on the phone.
Did you? Well, that's something special, isn't
Alexa, Sophia.
Mummy, good teacher?
You can answer that question?
Nope.
I mean, your mother just asked you a question. I think you should be polite.
Nope.
Okay. I think it'd be lovely if you acknowledged your mother, but we won't go there because it's not my child. I've been there, done that. My kids are done and dusted, raised. So, Nigel, you were actually going to share some footage that you've seen in the news and press.
Morning everyone. My name's Joe Brown and I'm an inspector and an intensive care paramedic with New South Wales Ambulance, and I work on the front line in Western Sydney. I was called as the intensive care paramedic to back up a crew that was at a single mother with her teenage son and daughter in the house, and she was deteriorating. When I got there, I integrated with the team and I provided her time-critical treatment. But whilst doing so, her son made a comment to me. And that comment was, "I think this is my fault. I think I've given Mum COVID." That stopped me in my tracks, and it stopped my team in my tracks, and it absolutely broke our heart.
So we just watched a quick vid issued from New South Wales Health with the above mentioned paramedic. I guess my view on what he said is a mixed view. I guess the fact that, you know, a child had admitted that they felt as though they were responsible is a lot to weigh on somebody's shoulders. Yeah, it's breaking all of our hearts to some degree. We're all affected and afflicted in different ways. I guess I'm not really sure what to say. You know, we heard from Kate earlier today, who is actually a school teacher, and it was a matter of time. You know, for her, it's become a compulsory thing that she has to have the vaccine in order to go back to work. Like many of us are faced with this at the moment. I guess, yeah. I guess the point is that being a younger person, they're not as vulnerable. The elderly are. Yeah, so yeah, I'm so torn between what's right, what's wrong, what's right for me personally, what's right for everybody else, you know. Nigel, you said last week we're all in the same boat or separate boats. Which is totally true in a way. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's sad, you know. It's sad. Like I said, it's a lot to take on for a young person as well. You know, it's hard enough to fathom and process all this at my age or anyone older's age. So yeah, it'd be interesting. You know, if anybody would like to put up any comments, please do after tonight. You know, I'd like to see different people's opinions. You learn something from every new day and every person. So I think I'll just leave it at that. I'm no expert on these matters, but yeah, it's unfortunately it's touching everybody's lives to some way in varying degrees. Tonight we're speaking with a very old friend, not very old, but a friend of mine, Bob Bradeckas. Hello, Bob. How are you?
Good, Sandra. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. So tonight we're doing a follow-up to our episode on COVID last week. So my first question for you, Bob, is you actually have been following Little Big Old Me, I guess, since we started out. you also you watched last week's episode and put up 15 comments, interestingly enough. What I wanted to bring to light, what was funny that you thought that we'd taken 5 of the comments down. However, YouTube intervened. How do you feel and what do you say about that?
Well, I thought it probably was YouTube. There was a couple that came down straight away. The comment came up when I pressed comment, and then when I reloaded the page again, it was gone instantly. So I thought that was YouTube, and a few others lasted an hour or two and then disappeared. And I'm used to YouTube censoring me comments these days. But they've got algorithms that just go crawling through everything looking for key words. And that's why a lot of people these days that are still on YouTube, they talk about getting the Vaseline, try and fool the algorithm a bit.
Right. Well, I've recently learnt of that word and those techniques due to Nigel. I call him Quentin often because he's a great producer. So funny enough, so I sort of have got some. I can fathom what you're saying. So my next question is, how do you feel about the COVID and how has it changed your ways in life, I guess?
How do I feel about it? Well, I definitely don't believe that we're in the middle of a deadly plague, that's for sure.
Okay.
There's no plague going on. We've had coronaviruses for forever. That's your basic colds and flus and everything. And I think it's just been given a lot of hype and a lot of bling and
thanks to the media.
a big fear campaign put behind it. And without the TV, you wouldn't notice anything different going on in the world at the moment.
Yeah, I guess a lot of things have been attributed to corona, deaths and everything. Everything's getting put down as a death, due to corona when it's getting misconstrued, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's ridiculous. There was a time there where, I know in Britain, if you got diagnosed with COVID and within 30 days later got hit by a bus, you went down as a COVID death. Yeah,
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think some way, personally, my thoughts on it, I remember, you may remember a few years ago, they tried to pass through an Australia card, to me, like Big Brother's watching, and, I think gradually the government's finding its way to sort of control us all, but they're using it through a guise, maybe. I guess we've all got our opinions and our thoughts on different things. So we talked earlier, if you don't mind me bringing up, and you went to a stand-in this morning at the council chambers, and what you thought you were attending, and the subject actually turned out to be something different. Would you like to discuss that, Bob?
Yeah, well, everybody probably saw the 6 o'clock news by now, and it was getting flouted as a anti-COVID, anti-lockdown sort of protest. It wasn't that at all. It was what everybody was there for was to get the names released of the 28 pedophiles that the government has been protecting for over 2 decades.
Wow.
Accused pedophiles. They were named in the Wood Royal Commission in the 1990s.
Yep.
28 of them, all high-level politicians and judges. And the government at the time, the Howard government, put a 90-year suppression order on that list of names. Can't be mentioned now.
It's
so
quite interesting.
That's what everybody was out today for. All over Australia and all over New Zealand was that has gone on long enough, and we want those names released to the public.
And rightly so too. And it has to
rightly so.
Question that it poses in my mind: what faith should the Australian people have in their government if, you know, the high-ranking people are the ones that are controlling us like puppets, and yet, you know, there's a suppression order that's been put out for 90 years. It's raises
exactly,
a lot of
exactly. And it's not just the Howard government back then, but every government since has voted to uphold that, and
wow.
Everybody in government has stayed silent about it.
Okay.
Now, if you or me know that there's something really bad going on, and we stay silent about it, well, in law that's called tacit agreement.
Okay.
You're giving your agreement to that, your consent to that by your silence, and every one of them is guilty by their silence, with a couple of quite notable exceptions that have spoken out, but there's only about 2 of them, and everybody else has stayed silent about it, and that's a crime.
Somebody's got to speak out. Somebody has to stand up for everything in life that we love and protect, you know, whether it be our freedom of, you know, to choose to travel, to be or not to be, you know, I guess.
Well, they speak about our freedoms now like there's some sort of privileges or something that they can give us. No, they're our God-given freedoms.
Well, that's right. It's basic human rights. And, you know, when I did my studies, I learned all about that stuff, and I loved diversity. Was my favourite unit when I studied. But yeah, gradually they're chipping away at it, aren't they, and taking away this. And then, you know, when we spoke a few months ago, you know, then they were trying to make it mandatory for the vaccinations, and then they found a way to get through it. And, you know, they got the number of votes, as we know, so it wasn't going to be mandatory. But now they've taken another angle, which they would have had a list of things that they were going to attack, let's face it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they want to get it into everybody. And, they're slowly getting around to it. Well, not so slowly, really. I thought we would have had a couple more years before the vaccines came on the scene, but
it's amazing how quick they
rushed them through that quick. Like they haven't been approved yet. They've only got emergency use approval.
Yes, that's right. Normally, FDA, it's 5 years before you get something like that, trials and research.
Yeah, well, the Pfizer trials don't finish until the end of 2023. New Year's Eve 2023 they're finished, so that's 2.25 years away.
Yeah,
and people saying that they're safe are talking out their ass.
Yeah, well, that's right. They're just
because nobody knows. The trials aren't finished for more than 2 years. How can anybody say they're safe?
That's right. I tend to agree. And as I said, I mean, I'm more against getting the vaccinations, that although, you know, in last week's episode I mentioned how all my children were vaccinated as such, and my youngest daughter is concerned for my health. But, you know, I mean, Nigel's booked in to have his excuse me, one day I'm all for it, next day I'm not. I'm sort of, you know, I'm more against than not, but I want to be a responsible citizen. But I'm struggling with it all, you know, and the ideals and what they don't know. I did mention I had an appointment with my specialist this week, who's a hematologist, the head of hematology at the Mater. And he went, no, it'll be okay. But it was a bit funny. So I said, can I ask you a personal question? And he went, yes. I said, have you had the vaccine? He went, yes, I have. My mother has and my daughter has. And then I said, he said, you'll be fine. And I said, have other patients, like, you know, a lot of his patients are hemophiliacs and cancer people and, you know, blood stuff. And he said, oh, well, you know, there won't be ramifications for at least 30 years. But by stating that to me, it's stating the obvious, isn't it? You know, how can you pinpoint the time figure on it? It was sort of interesting, you know, made me feel confident, but then not. It sort of gave it and took it away at the same time.
Yeah, well, these shots that they're calling vaccines, they're not like any other vaccine we've ever had either.
Yeah,
They're experimental gene therapy. They had to change the dictionary definition of a vaccine to even be able to call it a vaccine.
Wow, that's alarming.
That they've been testing these things for years and years, but nothing's ever got to market before, because every time they tried it, when they did the animal trials, the animals all died.
Oh fuck. Oh. Okay. Wow.
So this time around, how are we going to get around that? Oh well, we won't do animal trials. So they've done no animal trials on this stuff.
How you feeling, Nigel? You're still booked in for your vaccination. What are your thoughts?
I guess I'm in various minds. I guess it's along the lines of, it's been proven to some degree that if we were, as unvaccinated people, to get it, we're going to get sicker and therefore be more likely to die.
Right.
And particularly with someone like myself, it has got underlying medical conditions. It's like, well,
Okay. And like you, like Bob, both live with your elderly parent. Both you live with your mother, and Bob, you live with your father. So
I'm living with my old man. Yeah, he's 93.
Yeah, and Nigel's mother's 84. Is it 84, Nigel?
83. Yeah,
83.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got both sides of the fence there in a way.
But before you have it, Nigel, I'd just seriously suggest really do your research on it. And I don't mean, what they're telling us on the news and that, because, we've got all sorts of people saying it's safe. We've got the celebrities and the pop stars and everything going, oh, it's safe, just have it, it's good for everybody and all this. And on the other hand, you've got, very good scientists and doctors that are saying it's not, and they're getting silenced. Doctors have been deregistered for speaking out, for just wanting to, give their professional opinion.
Yeah, what they started trying to do.
That's got to be a red light to anybody. Just the way the whole media thing has been handled with this, and the censorship, like YouTube and Facebook, even. You can't say anything against it without it coming down.
All right, then. Well, thank you for your time tonight, Bob.
Thank you for having me.
It's all right. I was a bit disappointed when I seen the picture. I thought you had your cockatoo with you, and I went, "Oh, how Australian!" Maybe next time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He'd liven the show up for sure, eh?
I wouldn't. What? Yeah, I got bit by one of those white cockatoos when I was a child. I was at Black Butt Reserve, and what did I went? Oh, cockatoo, and I stuck my finger into the fence, Well, it latched on, and my brother was like, and I just went this long, constant wail, and my brother's like, oh my God, and what did you do that for? And I went, I was trying to pat it. Never forgotten it.
Yeah, they've got a good bite on them.
What? Yeah.
But he actually got hold of the corner of my phone the other day, really quick. Yeah, and he just he's cracked the screen protector. But I haven't taken it off yet because I haven't got another one to put on. But I think, I'm hoping the screen's still all right underneath it. But he's just so quick, bang.
That's funny. All right then, well, Bob. Well, thank you very much again for your time. And
thank you, Sandra, and thank you, Nigel.
Thank you.
All right, and yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll catch up personally, maybe out of lockdown.
Love to,
All right.
Sandra.
All right, take care, Bob. Hope you enjoyed that. I certainly have. It's enlightened me to some degree. Still haven't decided. Still sitting on the fence. Every time I gain trust in it, and then I see something else, and I guess speaking with Bob was quite interesting. I need to research. Yeah, so anyway, thank you for watching the program. Hope you enjoyed our episode, and we'll catch you next week. Little Big Old Me. I just wanted to take this opportunity to speak to people around Australia and the globe. If you have a story that you think is interesting or special to you that you would like to share on our program and to the world, please don't hesitate to contact us. At myself, Sandra at Little Big Old Me. We look forward to hearing from you. Hope you have a great day. Little Big Old Me.